On this channel, I am known to be something a lot of people would refer to as a gun bot. I love the DCU. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is my favorite Marvel movie. So people start to think that I agree with every single choice James Gunn has made, which just isn't true. So in this video, I will be discussing what I think are the many mistakes of the DCU so far. First off, we have making Hal Jordan old. I think the casting of Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan is great, but I'm just not that happy that they made him old enough to be Superman's dad. Does that mean Green Arrow will also be that old? What about Black Canary? I was really hoping he'd be the same age as Superman, or at least around that age. Yeah, and I'm just not happy with that choice, and I hope Batman is at least near Superman's age, because that would be very disappointing. And I get it that you want to have him mentor Jon Stewart, but I think there was a way to do that without making him pushing 60. No hate to Kyle Chandler. I think from what we've seen in Lanterns, he's doing great so far, but I would have loved a prime Hal Jordan. They could be adapting the Parallax arc, but still, I would have loved to see Hal, young before he sort of passes the torch to John. This is sort of like Hank Pym and Ant-Man all over again. And that's really a choice that I'm not fond of. Another thing is making Creature Commandos the first project in the DCU. Now, I want to get this out of the way. I love Creature Commandos. It is one of the best superhero animated series I've seen in the modern times. And I do think that it's X-Men 97 level, or at least near that, because it is truly just a fantastic series. But I do think there comes a problem making that your first project. I think it should have been like something like Superman. HBO Max wasn't even available worldwide, so you're making your first project something that only people in a specific country will be able to watch. That's really just not a good idea, and I think that they could have delayed this till after Superman, maybe like December. That would have been great. Although I do understand that it was ready and it is sort of necessary to understand the character of Rick Flag Sr. And I also get that they're trying to release DCU projects in chronological order, except for Clayface, which takes place before Superman. So they want Creature Commandos to be out first since it takes place before Superman and Peacemaker Season 2. Now another thing is the suits. I love the Superman suit, same thing with the Supergirl suit, and I don't hate the Lantern suit, but one thing that I do wish for the Superman suit is the lines, and there's a lot of padding. I think the suit could look a lot better if it was a different material and there wasn't so much padding and lines, because the unnecessary lines really hurt the look of the suit, and Supergirl has the same problem. The DCU suits really need an upgrade. Like Peacemaker's is great, Vigilante's is great, but it's just Guy Gardner's, his suit doesn't really look, there's barely any green there. Mr. Terrific's suit looks amazing and very comic accurate. And I get that Guy Gardner has a Lord Tech suit, but it would have been nice to, see a proper Green Lantern suit with at least a lot of green, because looking at the Lantern suit, there's barely any green there, even though I think that Jon Stewart's suit will be a lot different in Man of Tomorrow. I really hope that Batman and Wonder Woman suits don't have unnecessary padding and lines like Superman's has and Supergirl's. Hopefully Superman gets a new suit for Man of Tomorrow, because this one, while great, has too much padding and lines. Now another mistake I think they made is announcing the Gods and Monsters slate. Marvel announces so many projects, and they sort of force the projects into production, which is why some of them don't turn out that great, but DC Studios works a lot different, and it doesn't greenlight a project until the script is great, which I think is such a smart move, and I think they're learning from their mistake, which was announcing I think 10 projects, which only half of them have great scripts right now, and everyone else is wondering, where are these? I think it would have been smarter to just announce them as the scripts are ready, so no one even knows these scripts exist, and the wait for the movies aren't that long, because everyone's taking The Brave and the Bold taking a while to say that the DCU is canceled, which just isn't true, which is actually a normal length. Fantastic Four was announced in 2019. We finally got it 6 years later, and The Brave and the Bold might come 5 years after it was announced in 2023. And I think the way they're doing stuff now is really a smart move because Clayface got announced and 2 years later it's coming out. We don't have to wait that long for films, and I think this is a mistake that they actually learned from here. Now, another mistake that they made is not taking advantage of stuff like Comic-Con. You have no idea how cool it would have been to get Man of Tomorrow announced at San Diego Comic-Con. Even though they probably didn't have a script ready, that would have been awesome, and I do hope that we do get Brave and the Bold release dates and the castings for Batman and Wonder Woman at Comic-Con. Because Comic-Con is made for the fans, and I really hope DC takes advantage of that atmosphere and just that hype to announce future projects. Now, another mistake that I have with this universe is the established universe to a certain extent. Now, I like the idea of having, a world populated with heroes, but the way they went about it really makes you think because Superman publicly announced himself as Superman when he was 30. What was he doing for those years before then? And if Damian Wayne's the main Robin of the DCU, that means Dick and Jason have both trained with Batman for at least 3 years, meaning that Dick Grayson would have the same amount of experience as Superman, and Superman wouldn't be like a mentor figure to him like he usually is in the comics, which would just be a big mistake. I hope The Brave and the Bold changes this and makes Dick the main Robin, but this established universe is sort of biting them in the foot. And this brings me to my last mistake I think they've made, and it is, sadly, keeping Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad canon. I love both of those projects, but it's so confusing to have part of Peacemaker where the Justice League showed up canon to this new universe with the new Justice League. It's so confusing for audiences. Even though I love Peacemaker Season 2, having Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad as soft canon really hurts this universe because a lot of people don't know what's canon, what's not canon, and they don't know that they need to watch a podcast to learn what's canon from those films. Honestly, I think the DCU is off to a great start. Those are really the only mistakes I think they've made. I don't think making Lanterns grounded was a mistake because Thor started off with a grounded story, yet now Thor is really cosmic. Let me know how many mistakes in this video you think they've done. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching.